Hey, what's up, everybody? So it is currently 10:52 p.m. as I'm filming this video. The Packers versus 49ers game just ended, and I want to give my sort of initial reactions to what we saw tonight when it comes to the Packers overall. Some highlights, some things that happened that weren't too amazing, and to sort of go through what happened tonight and what we could potentially see going forward for Green Bay. And if you guys are new to the channel, I put out Packers content pretty much every single day, so feel free to subscribe. If you're into that kind of thing, Packers news, Packers content, analysis like this, feel free to subscribe to the channel down below. So the first thing I want to talk about is Jordan Love in this game. And if you look at the box score and you didn't watch the game, it doesn't look very pretty. Not saying it was perfectly pretty, but his box score doesn't look amazing. 13 for 24, 176 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions. Which isn't amazing. But when we look at Jordan Love in this game, I think that it was more positive than the box score seemed to show. You never want your QB throwing 3 interceptions, but the first 2 picks weren't really Jordan Love's fault. The first one hits off the face mask. The second one is this interesting throw to Romeo Doubs. Probably wasn't the best throw ever, but the way that Romeo Doubs fell down to the ground, the ball rolls into the other guy's hands. Second interception. The third one, I'd say it was Jordan Love's fault, but Matt LaFleur at halftime did say that 2 of the receivers on that play ran the wrong route, but clearly it was a bad throw by Jordan Love. So the first 2 picks, not really his fault. For the third one was his fault. But honestly, before those first few picks, his first few throws weren't amazing. But then he threw a dime to Romeo Doubs, who I will get to after we talk about Jordan Love, who looked amazing once again. Threw a beautiful touchdown to Romeo Doubs, had lots of other very nice plays. And I honestly think he looked better than I've seen in the past from him. Even though he did have those interceptions, he looked like he had more confidence in the pocket. He was sort of trusting himself more. And I think 5 out of the 6 drives he drove into the opposing territory. So he was moving the ball a lot in this game. And then he had a nice pass to Danny Davis, who made a very nice move for a touchdown. So overall, not a perfect game from Jordan Love, not an amazing game from Jordan Love, but there were some bright spots, and I think he has maybe made some progress. Clearly, he still struggles a little bit with inaccuracy, but it wasn't as bad as the 3 interceptions that he did throw. Clearly, there's still room for improvement there with Jordan Love, but in his first preseason game, not completely terrible. Definitely some bright spots, also some negative spots as well. But we'll see what he can do in the next couple preseason games as well. Now moving on to the player that I'm most excited to talk about once again, which I don't get tired about talking about how good Romeo Doubs looked in this game. So Romeo Doubs scored a touchdown when Jordan Love threw him a nice, beautiful pass. And if we take a look at his overall stats in this game, 3 receptions for 45 yards and 1 touchdown. And there were a few other plays where Romeo Doubs had his guy beat, and there weren't perfect throws by Jordan Love. He definitely was inaccurate. Many throws in this game. A couple Romeo Doubs had the guy beat, and the ball was a little bit underthrown. But one thing we've seen consistently over training camp, especially in this game, is Romeo Doubs can get open. He has the way he moves his feet, the speed that he has. He's very, very good. There were a couple plays here where he dropped the ball, which, for a young player like him, it's going to happen sometimes. Last preseason for Jamar Chase, people were freaking out because he dropped so many balls. And then he came in, had a very solid year, still struggled with drops at times, but had a overall solid year. So overall, Romeo Doubs had an amazing game, and it was great to see him out there in live action because we've been talking about how dominant Romeo Doubs has been looking all training camp. So to see him do it in a preseason game, in an actual game, it was great to see him do it once again. And I think, once Aaron Rodgers is out there, the separation that Romeo Doubs gets is unquestionable. And so to have Rodgers out there throwing to him when the season starts, I think Romeo Doubs could be one of the top options here in Green Bay if he can sort of keep up how he's looked so far. Now the next player I want to talk about, sticking with the offense, and then we'll move to the defense a little bit. The guy I want to talk about is Tyler Goodson. So he had 12 carries in this game for 37 yards. And he looked very, very fast out there, very speedy, could change direction very easily. He's not the most powerful back, but he's got some moves, he's got some speed, and he had a very solid game in there. One of the Packers' undrafted rookie free agents, so he looked really good out there. Dexter Williams, who the Packers recently added back to this roster in the past few days, came in there, had a very nice run, 25-yard run in the second half, had 3 carries for 29 yards. Overall, I'd say a very solid game from the running game when it comes to Tyler Goodson, Dexter Williams. Overall, the Packers actually had 34 carries for 141 yards. Not too shabby. Of course, in this game, it's like in preseason games, it's funny watching when you have you don't care at all what the score is. Like we lost 28-21, but it doesn't really matter. And now moving to the defensive side of the ball. So to start this game off, Trey Lance comes in and he throws a huge deep bomb for a touchdown. Dallin Levitt gets beat deep by Trey Lance. Dallin Levitt, who was recently added this offseason from the Las Vegas Raiders by Rich Bisaccia. Levitt did go down with an injury later, which was a little bit unfortunate. But the first, not only that play, a few series later, the Packers come in, get beat deep once again for a touchdown. Rico Gafford falls down as he's guarding his man and gets beat deep. So we sort of saw just how, I'd say, weak this secondary depth is currently at this point to see those two huge plays happen in the first half. Not really great news there. Hopefully some of these guys can continue to improve and step up, but there are some question marks still when it comes to the depth of the secondary here in Green Bay. And then one guy who kept standing out to me time and time again throughout this entire game, from the first half to the second half, was Chris Slayton. So not TJ Slayton, but Chris Slayton, number 60. He kept getting pressure there on the inside, was sort of blowing up the line of scrimmage, looked very, very good on the interior of the defensive line. And so one takeaway from this game is that this defensive line is pretty deep. It's very deep. We didn't have Kenny Clark playing, lots of these, starters on the D-line playing. But to see Chris Slayton as well as Jack Heflin have lots of nice plays on the D-line, I'd say very promising for the depth of this defensive line. And then I want to touch on a few different little quick notes that I had during this game. And I may come out with another video in the next few days after I, take a deeper look at this game as well. But first off, when it comes to Amari Rodgers had a very nice game tonight. He returned some kicks. He had a very, very nice return on special teams, which is awesome to see. And then he had a beautiful touchdown there at the end. Almost stepped out of bounds, but didn't. Looked very good. So for Amari Rodgers, who lots of us have been wondering, can he step up and improve in his second season? We saw some, I'd say, great improvement tonight from Amari Rodgers and sort of how he performed, how he looked, the speed that he has. Unquestionable that he is a very talented, a very athletic player, and it was great to see him produce tonight. And then Kingsley Enagbare, rookie edge rusher, had a nice play in there, a nice little sack. It was hard to tell if he touched the guy or the guy sort of just tripped, but he definitely was getting pressure. It looked like he sacked him. So Kingsley Enagbare having a nice play there. And then a couple others. Danny Etling, who is the Packers' third-string quarterback, actually had a pretty nice day. Went 6 for 8, 123 yards, and 1 touchdown. So he actually had a perfect passer rating of 156.3. He also had, rushes. He had 4 rushes for 18 yards. I was honestly surprised at how quickly he was able to move around that pocket. So he had a very solid game in the short amount of reps that he did have, throwing 8 passes to Jordan Love's 24 passes. So that's a positive that he played well. Keandre Thomas had a couple nice pass breakups as well in the secondary. But those are pretty much the biggest things I wanted to touch on. That's not everything that happened tonight, but those are the sort of biggest things that stuck out in my mind. And I'd be curious to hear if any of you guys have any takeaways personally. Feel free to comment them down in the comment section down below. But it's awesome that the Packers, are actually playing football now. It was great to sit there and just watch an actual game. So I'm excited for the next couple preseason games, and I'll be covering them on this channel as I am right now. And then the season will finally be here, and we'll actually get to see some football that actually foam 100% matters, the end result of the game. So that should be very exciting. But thank you guys so much for watching. As always, I appreciate you guys. Go Pack, go, baby.